All right, we're live with middleweight prospect Victor Guerrero, and he's got an upcoming fight on April 26th. So, Victor, let's get right into it. For people who don't know your background, you have boxing in your blood.
Mm,
You are the nephew of Ruben Guerrero. Excuse me, not the nephew, the grandson of Ruben
grandson,
Guerrero.
grandson. Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're the nephew of Robert Guerrero. Sorry about that. I got the
Mm,
name mixed
no,
up.
no.
So, talk about that relationship and how involved are they and what type of influence have they had in your career? And I believe I saw Ruben
Yeah,
at your last fight. He was there. I think he was in the ring after the fight, if I'm not mistaken, when you
yeah,
fought
yeah.
Matthew Monroe. So talk about how much influence he's had and how much of an effect.
I mean, that's my grandpa. He's always been there for me. He's always supported me. Like you said, he actually worked my corner this last fight. Him and my father, and now they're very involved. Especially my uncle Robert. He's always been involved with my boxing career. Since day one. And I'm very grateful to have them uh, in my on my corner on my side. So, both of them bring a lot of experience, been in a lot of championship fights. So, anytime you can have somebody like that, in your corner, you know, it brings the best out of you. So, I'm thankful for that. So, yeah,
So let's talk about the last fight. I got a chance to see the last fight against Matthew Monroe, and this guy was a pretty tough guy. He was a big guy like yourself, a decent sized
yeah,
middleweight. Seems like you got off to a fast start. You were a little bit aggressive, but as the fight wore on, I noticed that you kind of settled down a little bit and you used your jab a little bit more, and you were more measured, and you were counter punching a little bit. So you switched things up and you showed different layers
yeah, yeah.
in that fight that I noticed. Did you feel as though maybe you started a little too fast and you caught yourself? You said, "I got to settle down here," or just talk to me how you were, the strategy for that fight and how it kind of played out in your own assessment.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I started off a little too fast. I needed to settle down, make the right adjustments. I was trying to force the knockout in a way. I was leaving myself a little exposed, but like you said before, having my grandpa in my corner, he kind of gave me the right directions to beat this guy and use my jab more, and then to establish, that ring generalship in there and push the pace, my pace, So, yeah, I started settling down, in the third round, late second round, third round, and then, we got the victory like that. So I'm very thankful that, we got the win. So, yeah,
So I believe, from what I've been told, you train in Vegas. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah, Vegas.
Okay,
Yeah,
but you fight a lot primarily in the San Francisco Bay Area of California. It seems like you have a nice little following there from what I've saw on the fight. Are you originally from California and did you relocate to Vegas, or talk about your background and how you grew up and how you got started into the boxing from that perspective?
yeah. So I'm originally from Guerrero, California, which is probably, I would say, like 2.5 hours south of Sacramento. And I made a transition to move here to Vegas about a year ago. Vegas is obviously the boxing capital of the world. There's a gym on every corner, pretty much. So you can get work, any day of the week. And I'm very grateful to be out here in Vegas. Because out there in the Bay, there's gyms, but you gotta travel pretty far if you want to get good work. If you want to get good sparring. But here in Vegas, like I said, there's a gym on every corner. The world champions always want to train out here. There's always, people that across the world that know, oh, Vegas is the boxing capital of the world. So, I'm very, very blessed to be here and train here as well.
So you've kind of bounced around from weights like from 154 to 160 throughout the course of your career, and I've been told that you may even consider going back down to 154.
Yeah.
Um, talk about the weight cut, and it's almost like a double-edged sword in my opinion, because when you have that big frame and you
Yeah.
do have the ability to make 154, so you have that size advantage. but also the other end of it is you got to boil down, right? Because I looked at you and you look like you could be a 168 pounder at some point in your career.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
20, you're 24. I know you can do it now, but talk about the challenges and the advantages and disadvantages of that if
yeah.
if you even look at it that way.
No, yeah. I mean, most definitely. I mean, you know, I stay for the most part. I'm super disciplined when it comes to eating right and staying healthy. So the weight cut for me to 154, it's not too bad because I mean I walk around 168, 170. So I mean it's not super draining. It's not super super not bad at all. So once that week comes when you start to really start cutting weight, it's not too bad. So 54, that's where I want to make my stomping grounds at. That's where I want to, make my statement at. And I feel like, you know, in the next coming years, I'm really gonna, put myself out there at the 54 division, So yeah.
So you have had some periods of inactivity. I think 2020, I don't believe you had any fights. 2023, I think, was another long stretch that you
Yeah.
didn't have fights. Was there any period in your career where you may have said to yourself, I don't know, maybe you were having problems getting fights or not? Did you get discouraged at any point where you might have said, I don't know if this is for me? Did you have to do some soul searching deep down to say, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to stay the course. Talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, there was, this past year in 2023, I didn't get any fights, but I did train with some top contenders. I was in camp with Carlos Adames. He's at 160 WBC champ right there. So I got a lot of good experience. I kept my head high. And I just, put God first, and I was like, let's keep this going. And 2024 is going to be, it's going to be a great year of boxing for me. And April 26th is another statement that I'm gonna show everybody out there. So, yeah,
So, from what I was told, you don't have an opponent yet. And I'm not sure if you stay in the gym and do conditioning work throughout the course of the year, but talk about the challenge of like sometimes not knowing who you're going to fight and maybe you get maybe 4 or 5 weeks notice. How has that been, the process of getting opponents? How much in advance do you usually get to so you can prepare and you know who you're fighting? And are you the type of guy that likes to continue on with the conditioning even when there's not a fight scheduled?
yeah. I mean, of course, yeah. Like I said, I'm in the gym 24/7. So whoever they put in front of me, I'll be well prepared. Me and my team, we got a lot of good sparring out here in Vegas. We got a lot of looks, southpaws, righties, orthodox guys. So I'm very confident in myself. So whoever they put in front of me, I'll be well prepared. So um, April 26th, a month away or a couple months away. So, but I'll be well prepared for that fight as well.
Okay. Now, Monroe was I believe your first southpaw as a pro.
Mm,
How
yeah,
much time did you get in advance for that? And did you have to scramble to get southpaw sparring partners? Because I know it's not always easy.
yeah.
And did you feel like you had enough time to prepare for that and talk about the challenges of facing your first southpaw in your pro career?
Yeah, no, it was a little awkward. He was a little awkward. He was tricky, but I got about like I think 5-6 weeks when they let me know who was my opponent, and before that, last year I was getting a lot of sparring here too. So from a southpaw guy, my uncle Robert was here in camp in Vegas. He's a southpaw. He gave me a lot of tips. He was very helpful. How to move, how to dictate the pace on the southpaw guy. But yeah, no, going into the fight, I was confident, that I was gonna come out victorious, and it definitely showed, the preparation for my fight. So very thankful. Had a good camp, was 100%, and on to the next one. On to the next one.
So there's another young upstart. He comes from a boxing family too, and that's Fernando Vargas Jr.
Yeah.
Have you been keeping an eye on him? And is that kind of like a rivalry that you want to get involved in? Because it's like almost like I don't know if you're familiar with Conor Ben and Chris
Yeah.
Eubank
Yeah.
Jr. They had their little rivalry. Is
Yeah.
this something that you want to kind of develop and maybe? Oh, he dropped off. Okay, he's back. All right, I'm sorry, popped off there for a second. So is this something that you would like to have down the road, a rivalry with Fernando Jr.? Is that something that you think would be a pretty good sell?
Yeah, no, yeah, most definitely. I'm definitely keeping my eye on him. That's I feel like that's going to be a in the upcoming years. A big fight that can definitely sell out. Vargas versus Guerrero, two rich, fighting families. They got good rich history. So I mean, it'll definitely be a seller, and I'm definitely keeping my eye on him. For as a future opponent. So I think that will definitely be a sellout. Wherever it's going to be at. So um, just I just got to keep winning, and in the upcoming years, we'll make it happen. We'll definitely make it happen. So yeah.
How many fights do you think you could be able to get in this year? And obviously, is this the year that you're going to say to yourself, "This has to be my breakout year"? You're still
Yeah.
24. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
But again, boxing waits for no one. So, is
Exactly.
this the year that you're just gonna kind of make a concerted effort to get in as many fights as you can, and hopefully down the road, maybe get a television date or something, being on someone's
Yeah.
undercard.
Yeah. No, most definitely. I mean, I want to stay active. At least I want to fight at least 5 times, 4 or 5 times this year. And it's very possible. I already got one in January 20th, so and then another one April 26th. So I'm excited for that, and yeah, I want this to be my breakout year. Of course, you wanna stay active, you wanna shake off the ring rust, but we're just gonna take it one fight at a time and see where everything goes. So yeah.
Now, is the next fight going to be at middleweight, or is it going to be at junior middleweight?
Uh, it's gonna be at junior middleweight, 154.
So you're
I
dropping
think
right
we're
back
gonna.
down.
Yeah, yeah, so um 154, I definitely felt, confident making the weight. It's not like a big draining cut. So just gonna keep staying in the gym, keep staying active and get those fights in this year. Most definitely.
So is the Bay Area where you feel as though you have the biggest following, and is that where you're going to try to focus on getting events there, or do you feel like it's time to branch out at some point later in the year? How do you see the
Uh,
location of these events? Is that where you want to kind of focus and make
yeah.
make your name?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Right, the Bay Area, that's my hometown right there, and I got a lot of family, friends out there that want to come out and see me. But like you said, eventually I want to branch out, start fighting in LA, Vegas, Texas. I got a lot of family out there in Texas too, so that would be great, to get out there, show my name out there and stuff. And you know, this next fight, it's gonna be up there in Oroville, so that's about like 3 hours from where I'm from. So I'm confident that a lot of people are gonna go out there and see me. So, but yeah, eventually, once I get those big TV fights and stuff, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be out here in LA or in Vegas. So definitely excited for those. Definitely excited.
Have you talked to anybody, any of the bigger promoters? Because I know obviously Robert's been on a PBC mainstay for
Yeah.
years. Have you talked to Ruben and Robert, and at some point hopefully try to get on one of a PBC undercard? Or has that been discussed at all?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, eventually, once I get a couple more fights in, PBC was probably, where I'm gonna make my statement on there, get on the card, pretty soon. Hopefully, maybe end of this year. We'll see. But like I said, I like to take one fight at a time. I don't really like to talk about future stuff like that. But PBC is the direction that we're definitely going to be heading.
Now you talked about sparring with Carlos Adames. Talk
Mm.
about that type of work that you had with him. How tough of a opponent did you feel he was when you're getting those rounds in? And are there any other big names that you've been in there with? Because obviously Carlos Adames is got a lot of experience, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there must have been some challenges there.
Yeah, of course. He's getting good rounds with the world champ. He definitely showed his experience. He was always cool, calm, and collective. But we're stable mates for a little bit, so he would help me out, a lot too. So he would, every time we were done sparring, he would tell me, what I was doing wrong, what I needed to work on. And also, I got some rounds in with Caleb Plant as well. That
Wow,
was
that's great.
yeah, that was definitely good. He's obviously fought pound for pound number one king. I think so. Right now is Canelo. So, that was definitely a good experience as well.
Okay. So you mentioned Canelo, right? And people have been kind of waiting and hanging at the edge of their seats, hoping that we're going to get this David Benavidez fight next. But
Yeah.
now we're hearing it could be Jamal Charlo. If it is Jamal Charlo and not David, what are your thoughts on that? And we're hearing that even if it is Charlo, possibly we can get David in September.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? And if and when they do fight, which I do believe they will, who do you think will win, Canelo or David?
That's a fight that's up for grabs. To be honest, it can go either way. But I think Canelo comes out on top. It's just the matchup. Benavidez just comes. He's a straightforward guy. He doesn't really move too much, so it's just perfect for Canelo. I think Canelo, beats him 12 rounds, unanimous decision. I think so. So, but I mean, either way, if Jamal, gets the fight, I hope he does a lot better than his brother does, because I mean that was what his brother did with Canelo
That was
was
rough.
really, yeah, it was definitely a rough night for him. So, but we'll see though. We'll see. Either fight, I'll be excited for it. Canelo always puts on the show, so we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Now, a lot of guys, when they're not fighting and training, they don't really follow the sport that much,
Hmm.
and they don't watch a lot of fights. Do you consider yourself a boxing fan? Do you like to watch a lot of different fighters? Do you have any favorite fighters that you enjoy watching? And
Hmm.
are you a big fan of the sport? Do you do a lot of following of fighters when you're not fighting yourself?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Every Saturday, me and my dad or the family, we always, get together and watch the fights. You know, um, literally, I was born into the fights, growing up watching fights. Saturday night, HBO, pay per view, all those fights. So, I do a lot of film study. I watch a lot of Caleb Plant fights, Canelo fights. Um, right now, I've been really studying Terrence Crawford. So, I know he has he switches from southpaw to righty and stuff, but I pick up some things. Especially when I have an opponent, I like to pick and choose, what I want to do despite game planning and stuff. So I'm definitely a big boxing fan, even when I'm not training or if after a fight. So every Saturday night, I'm watching fights. So yeah.
So you mentioned Callum Plant, you mentioned Terrence Crawford, and these guys are technicians in the ring. But when you look at Mexican boxing, it has that stereotype of guys who just like to go, head first. They like to brawl. They like to slug it out. But you have that nickname Slick. So is that
Yeah.
something that you're looking towards and forward to in your career, that I want to be more than just a brawler, a tough guy?
Yeah.
I want to really refine my craft and be known for more than that. Is that something that you want to patent yourself after, someone like a Caleb Plant, someone like a Terrence Crawford, who are they're more than just punchers?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, the name of the game is, hit, not get hit. So the less damage I take, the longer I'll last in the sport of boxing. So, I believe defense wins championships. So, I'm just gonna, keep progressing and keep staying in the gym. So I'm very very technical when it comes to in the ring. So I can brawl if I get somebody that wants to brawl. I'm a boxer. I'm slick. So um, just this year, the more I fight, the more I'm gonna progress in the sport of boxing.
I'm going to hit you with one more prediction.
Mm.
Jaime Munguia versus John Ryder. Who do you like in that one tomorrow?
I'm gonna go with Munguia. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
Munguia. John Ryder's just he just came off a loss for Canelo, but I think Munguia will edge it out. I think it's gonna go 12 rounds. It's tailor made for Munguia. John Ryder's just a guy, just like I said, he comes forward, and he's just there to get hit. So I think Munguia comes out on top.
Do you think Munguia will have a little bit of problems like he did against Derevyanchenko against Ryder tomorrow, or do you think it'll be a pretty dominating performance? How do you see the whole thing playing out? Because I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think
Yeah.
John Ryder could possibly pull it off. That's just
Yeah,
me.
I mean, like, it's boxing, it can go either way, but I don't think so. I think Munguia comes out on top, and I think if anything, he might stop him in the later rounds, and
Area obviously on Andre Ward. Have you followed Andre Ward's career coming up? And also, Devin Haney's still obviously actively fighting. Have you had any interactions with Devin Haney at all?
I haven't, but it's Vegas. It's a small town, so eventually I'll run into him. So we'll see. But he's definitely a lighter guy than me. So I definitely
Oh,
can't.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not suggesting you fight him, but wondering if you
No,
ran
yeah,
into him because he's from the Bay Area. He hangs out. I think he lives in Vegas now too. So
yeah.
just wondering because you guys have some similarities. I was just wondering if you ever kind of cross paths.
No, we haven't, but eventually I feel like we will. Eventually, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hit you with one last one here. We talked about Fernando Jr. Are there any other fighters on the radar right now that you have seen that you said, I want that guy?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's the 54 division, Tim Tszyu. I see him. He's gonna fight Keith Thurman March 30th.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting fight. Virgil Ortiz, he just moved up to 54. That would be a good name to get in there with. Jamel Charlo. I think Spence is moving up to 54 as well. But I'm always looking out for at the 54 division, 60 division. But definitely the name right now I'm definitely looking into is Fernando Vargas. That would be definitely a big fight in the future.
Okay. What about Fondora, man? That seemed like an interesting fight. He's a big tall guy, right? That'd be an interesting fight somewhere down the road.
He's a big guy. He's like 6'6", something like that.
Yeah,
that would definitely
that'd be interesting,
fight.
right?
Yeah, that would definitely be a great fight, honestly.
I think Ramos is another guy at 154 too.
Yes,
just lost to Lubin.
Yeah, Lubin too would be a good fight. So all those guys.
What did you think of that Lubin Ramos fight? I thought Ramos pulled it out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Ramos did just enough to beat him, but judges didn't see it. But it is what it is. Hopefully they can get that rematch in pretty soon. But I definitely think Ramos took that fight.
All right, got you. All right, before I let you go, give you an opportunity to shout out your social media, let people know where they can find you so they can follow you in your journey.
Yeah. Instagram is V_Guerrero023. That's where I usually update everybody on Instagram. So once again, V_Guerrero023.
Okay. Is it? Oh, so just the Instagram then?
Yeah, just Instagram. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. All right, Victor, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Appreciate the time, and we'll be following you, man. We'll be keeping an eye on you. I watched your last.
I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.
Watch your last fight, and I like what I saw. I mean, you did make some adjustments in there, and you look like you're working at your craft, man. So we'll be keeping an eye on you, man.
Most definitely. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a great day, man. Take care.
All right. You too.